we're here to answer. So if you want to direct them to any member, go ahead, or you just want to shoot generally, shoot generally.
Could you speak generally about the fact that the governor has talked about this being a tight budget and that there's probably going to be very little, if any, money across the board in state agencies? Is that the right place to start in terms of discussion when it comes to the budget?
It's frustrating. You know, we hear this, that the revenues are going to be soft, but he doesn't address why. He doesn't address that we've been giving tax cuts every single year, mostly to the highest earners, and that we failed to make the investments into our schools, into our local governments, and into those programs that affect our most vulnerable citizens. And now he's saying that those revenues are soft or they're light or whatever you want to talk about. But, you know, we gave $1.7 billion last time back in tax cuts. You know, our jobs plan that we have is $100 million. That's a fraction. They have to find the money for investing in business. They have to find the money to invest in our kids. You have to invest first, and if there's money left over and you want to do a tax cut, do a tax cut, but don't shift everything around and increase the sales tax and try to put all these new taxes in place just to further move that tax cut down for the income tax.
And he's also talking about a tax cut in this budget. So you can't maintain with less money. So if we're saying we're going to have a soft budget, that it's going to be tight, then why would you reduce the revenue that you're going to generate in this 2-year budget cycle?
So you mentioned the thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who turned out around the country for the Women's March. What message do you have for people who marched in those demonstrations that the concerns that they have are the concerns that you can protect in one way or another?
I think that the general message that in the conversations that I've been having with people is that there still are legislators that are listening to you, both at the state level and the federal level. And as Democrats in Ohio, we are trying to bring your voices down to the State House and push legislation one way or another, even if our names aren't on the bills. At the end of the day, when we can move this state in a positive direction to help improve the quality of life for all of our residents, then that's what we're supposed to do. And so we're constantly working on bringing people's voices down from every corner of the state, whether they're our constituents or not.
And Andy, on that point, I was one of the women in the march in the city of Columbus. What I heard is they're not listening to us. We want to take back our government so that our voices are heard. The resistance is that you're not listening to us and that we have a voice, and we're going to use our voice and our actions to ensure that legislators at all levels are focusing in on the issues that matter to women and men throughout the state of Ohio and in Washington and states across the nation and countries across the world, that the voices are going to be heard.
Is there anything that specifically sticks out to you as maybe one or two of the concerns that have been mentioned in those marches that people are afraid of, especially people are afraid that are going to happen on the federal level, that you think the state can defend on the state level? Is there anything that comes?
Healthcare.
In what way?
Comprehensive health care, taking away people's abilities to get their health care needs addressed. Whether you're talking about people who may be removed from the Affordable Care Act market exchange, or people who have finally gotten insurance with the expansion of Medicaid. Services, you know, the pre-existing conditions and the issues around young people staying on their parents' insurance. That's a fair shot. Once again, it's ensuring that young people can start their careers without worrying about high costs of insurance before they even get started paying off their student loans.
And making sure that our seniors are taken care of.
Absolutely.
Senator Sykes mentioned excuse me, that